When my wife and I were first married, we had 2 miscarriages. And then we got pregnant again. And, we were scared and we were worried and we were trying not to get our hopes up too much. We started seeing specialist doctors, and it was a high-risk pregnancy, so we were at the doctors once every 2 weeks. And then after all that work and all that worry, our first daughter was born. And it wasn't long after that a friend of ours came to visit. I think she was there to visit the new baby, which was great. And she brought us a gift. She brought this little cross, and she handed it to us, and she said that it was from a friend of hers, from her church, a friend that we didn't know. We never heard of the person. We didn't know they existed. But she said her friend every day would hold on to this cross and would pray for us, would pray for me and my wife and the child. This total and complete stranger soaked this little cross in prayer. I have to tell you, it just totally bowled me over. It was beautiful, it was humbling, and it was a blessing. That woman, that stranger, blessed us. We didn't even know we were being blessed, but we were. Abraham was nearly 100 years old. He had lived those 100 years in one place, and then God told him to pick up and go somewhere else. He was going to move him. And he said, when you go, he said, I will make you a blessing, and the nations of the world will be blessed through you. It's like Abraham was going to receive a blessing, but it wasn't just that he was going to receive a blessing, it was that he was going to be a blessing. And that's kind of how blessing works. We receive blessings. Sometimes we ask to receive a blessing. But then we give blessings ourselves. We offer blessings. We become a blessing for someone else. Just like I told the story about this stranger who was blessing us with her prayers, I'm sure that you can think of lots of people in your life who were blessings to you in sometimes small ways, in sometimes big ways. People who, helped form you into the person that you are today. People that when you were down, when you were out, when you were sick, when you didn't know what end was up, that they were there for you. Maybe they were a parent or a grandparent. Maybe it was a teacher or a coach, maybe a neighbor or a clergy person. But somebody blessed you. And when you think of them right now, that feeling you get when you think of this person that blessed you, that's what it feels like to be blessed. We bless people by giving them our time, by giving them our attention, by giving of ourselves to them, by giving gifts to them, by making them feel important, by making them feel that they are loved. That's how we bless people. In a former church of mine, there was a young woman who was a huge part of this church. Everything the church did, she was there. Didn't matter if it was church service or a midweek service or a dinner or a meeting, like whatever it was. She was there. Everyone in that church knew her. and loved her. And she had been carrying around this huge, heavy secret of these horrific things that had happened to her entire life. Things that were still going on. And she hadn't told anyone, not another living soul. Until one day she told us. She told us what had happened to her, what was happening to her. And when she told it to us, it was like this series of events unfolded. And it was like cascading events that ended up liberating her and freeing her in ways she probably didn't even think were possible. That community, that church community, was a blessing to her. I mean, I sometimes think, what would have happened if she wasn't a member of that community? I sometimes wonder, what if that community wasn't as open and loving? What if that community didn't offer itself in a posture of blessing? What would have happened to her? Would she ever have opened up? Of all the things that I've done in ministry, being a part of a community like that is one of the things that makes me most proud. It was beautiful. And here's the thing, no one showed up on Sunday mornings like, okay, today we're going to be a blessing. There's that young woman over there, and I'm going to go over there and give her a talk because she needs a blessing. Like, no one was, we just, authentically loved each other. And by authentically loving each other, we found ourselves in this posture where we were able to be a blessing to her. And she was able to be a blessing to us. That is how blessing sometimes goes. Sometimes you're very intentional. You know someone that needs a blessing in your life. You know someone that's down. You know someone that's hurting and in pain. And so you call them up. Or you send them a nice text message. Or, goodness gracious, you go visit them. You go old school and you get a note card and a stamp and an envelope, and you write it down and you send it to them. Or you find a way to live your life where you're just being a blessing by who you are. We can be a blessing intentionally, but we can also bless people without even ever really knowing it. We can also not just bless one person or one family, but we can find ways to bless whole bunches of people. We can take time out of our day and go volunteer at a soup kitchen or cook the food for the soup kitchen. We can volunteer at a domestic violence shelter or an after-school program for needy kids, or we can go on a mission trip to Appalachia and help people who are living in systemic and severe poverty. We can fix up their houses. We can bless whole groups of people by this. And if we're unable, because we're physically unable, or we just don't have the time to go and stand over a pot of soup or travel to Appalachia, we can write a check. We can make a donation. There are organizations and ministries and programs out there that can use able-bodied people with hands and feet and smiles and hearts to go and serve. And those same ministries and programs and outreaches need the resources that they need to have to do what they do. And so we can bless people that way too. But one of the beautiful mysteries of blessing is that when we are blessing someone else, when we are giving of ourselves to them, it's always a little unclear as to who it is that is being blessed more, them or us. And that's the beauty and the holiness of God blessing us and sending us out to be a blessing to the whole world.